Hello. All right, so second attempt, well, not second attempt, second stream of Newsday Tuesday in South Korea. Today is Tuesday, July 18th. Once again, uh, if you comment during the stream and if you leave a super chat, I will read that out loud during the stream, provided that it's falls in line with the terms of service. I have a Patreon if you want to support me. What else? Oh, and if you want me to cover future articles, any particular topic, leave a comment. If I got something wrong factually, please feel free to correct me. If you just have a disagreement of opinion, feel free to include that too. Um, yeah, that's it. We got a bunch of stuff to go through today, so here we go. All right. Um, this article by the Yonhap News is constantly being updated because we are in the middle of monsoon season and there has been heavy rains and flooding and lots of, well, I guess, I don't know what the normal amount of fatalities would be for this amount of rain. Like global warming and climate change are destroying various parts of the globe. There's, fires in Canada and the American Northwest, and then there's hurricanes in the American East Coast, and there's heat waves all over Europe. And here we get lots, well, we always get lots of rain, but we're getting heavier rain, at least in heavier amounts. The last, I guess there was a big rain 1 or 2 years ago, but the last big flooding was 2011, I think. But anyway, so this article keeps getting updated because they keep finding more and more formerly missing persons. So 50 dead or missing in downpours after five more bodies recovered from underground road. Um, so five more bodies have been recovered from a flooded underground road in central South Korea, bringing the number of people dead or missing in recent downpours to 50. The Osong underground roadway in central city of Cheongju was flooded Saturday when a nearby river overflowed after an apartment was brought down by rising water levels due to heavy rain. That's bad. It's not the only bad thing, but yeah, in this case, I guess this entire tunnel was flooded, and apparently the flooding happened too quick for cars to escape and for people to escape, and that's horrible. Um, but that was not all. So nationwide, 41 people, including 19th in the southeastern province of North Gyeongsang, have been reported to have been killed in the aftermath of the heavy rains that have pounded the country since last week. Um, Across the country, over 10,000 people evacuated their homes due to rain damage. Um, as of last week, I had originally picked out an article when this kind of series of flooding articles first came out, and it said that 4,000, I don't know if it's 4,000 homes or 4,000 people in Seoul lost electricity due to a, a trees bringing down power lines, which, given the population of Seoul, that's not much, not too bad. I mean, nobody, I think, at that point died or anything. It was just loss of electricity, but still, you're reminded of the scene in Parasite, where people get flooded and have no power or they can't stay in their homes, and that's kind of what happened this weekend. Downpours have also damaged 789 public facilities and 352 other private properties. Like anywhere there's a river or stream, like Hangang River was flooded. All the paths next to it were flooded. You can't go there. I haven't been out too much while it's heavily raining, but there's a stream in Anyang. The closest to me is Hagichan, and at least last year, it was super flooded and it destroyed all the foliage around it. Um, a total of more than 4,000 people from Over 2,000 households across the nation have not been able to return to their homes due to temporary evacuation. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, most of it in other parts of the country where, let's say, the terrain is lower and they're closer to rivers where like the overflowing could flood the towns or cities. Yeah, there's a town that like everything on ground level's flooded. Oh, we're gonna see. Are we gonna see it? I don't know. More than 500 millimeters of rain have pounded central and lower regions since July 9th. So 50 centimeters. That's, oh God, metric system. So, okay, is that half a meter? Right? That's half a meter. That's a lot. I mean, a meter is a lot. That's a lot of rain. Let's see. Oh, this doesn't go into, let's just go back for a little bit. There are more details about other bad things happening around the country due to the rain. Look at those. Look at it. But that's like a roadway, like kind of sloping down, but to be expected. Basically same stuff. Left 220 roads closed. Oh yeah. All train operations have been suspended. That's bad. I think I don't think any subways have been suspended, thankfully, because being underground, they're not exposed to the rain. Although some do go above ground, but I wasn't aware of subways being suspended. Yeah, the trains resumed on Monday. There was also, where's the thing about flights? It said something about like tons of flights being canceled. Landslide warnings across the nation except on Jeju. There was another article where, yeah, like houses just got demolished because of sudden landslides. It's crazy. That is a river or a stream. Yeah. Yeah, lots of not so fun stuff. Like compared to heat waves, fires, hurricanes, tornado. Like yesterday in New York, apparently there was a tornado warning. New York doesn't get tornadoes. Allegedly, it was out on the northern sound, but I mean, I didn't hear anything from the people in my family. I know there, so I guess it didn't hit land. But I mean, if you need to have a choice, like I prefer to have heavy rains than all those other natural disasters or unnatural disasters. Yeah, as long as you have a sturdy umbrella and rain boots, you can kind of get by. So that's the monsoon season here. So we got Chosunilbo with a. I love Chosunilbo because they are biased, but their bias is never hidden. It's never hard to figure out. They're pretty upfront with it, and I like how refreshing it is. So we got an article here. Young Koreans turn their backs on cars. Can you guess what the angle that they're writing from is? Take a look at the image they provided here. Oh my God. Yeah, they are, as I say in my little Chiron here, Chosun shills for big auto. They're sad about the cars. They're not happy that people aren't buying cars. A growing proportion of young Koreans do not see the need to own a brand new car. What's wrong with them? They should have just included that. Analysis of car registration data, blah, 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 shows that consumers in their 20s and 30s bought almost 300,000 new cars last year, down a whopping 26.2% from 2017, even used car purchases in those age groups declined 15.2%. So, like, car sales are kind of down across the board in Korea. I think this would be a good thing, which I'll explain later, but Chosun disagrees because think of the poor automakers. Over the same period, the population of Koreans in their 20s and 30s fell only 8.1%, so the drop in car purchases was 3 times steeper. Industry insiders say the trend started 10 years ago, but the pace has picked up sharply. This raises worries that car makers could reduce output, which could cost jobs and depress private consumption further. Aww. If many young consumers see no need to own a car now, they may not want one later in life either. As car sharing apps make it easier to pick one up for essential trips, and cars are more widely seen as contributing to climate change. It's funny they actually concede some of the reasons. Industry insiders are alarmed by how fast the trend, which has already been seen in Europe, is catching on in Korea. One insider said car purchases by people in their 20s and 30s began to drop. Yeah, we saw that right. Young consumers tend to buy cars on installments, but interest rates increased. And car prices have also increased. Automakers had hoped that young consumers would be more enthusiastic about electric vehicles, but that's not happening either. While older consumers seem to find EVs inconvenient. One staffer at an automaker said, if the demand declines on our home turf, it becomes more difficult for us to develop follow-up technologies and weakens our global competitiveness. So, like, okay, this is a good thing. There could be a multitude of reasons for it, but here's the thing, like 10, 15 years ago, I guess still, but to a lesser degree, cars are seen as a status symbol, specifically like also the types of cars people buy. People just buy like showy cars to show off, just to drive around and be like, I have this car. People dump money into things like to show off to like people they don't even know, just anyone passing by, rather than like investing or spending money on things that they genuinely enjoy. I mean, like, it's possible some of them enjoy their fancy cars, but I don't know how far that goes. So if car sales are down that much among young people, that means a lot of them don't see the need to own a car, like to reflect their status or their wealth or whatever. And also, owning a car was a big deal for young guys in order to get dates, because like you don't have a car, you're kind of at a loss. At least you feel inferior to like more wealthy guys who have cars. Like it definitely makes dating, I guess, less convenient, or like it gives a guy. I don't mean to put it this way, and I also kind of do mean to put it this way. It gives guys less leverage in dating, because like the car, they get to decide the mobility of the relationship, pretty much. So it's known that dating and marriage and everything are down. So you can also assume that a lot of people feel like they don't need to own cars to get dates or to date, or they're just not interested in dating. And then there's the fact that most of the population lives in cities, and the point of a good city is to have good public transportation. And if you're familiar with my channel, Korea, particularly the Seoul, not just Seoul itself, but the greater Seoul area has very good public transportation. And even though the price keeps kind of creeping up, like it's still relatively cheap compared to other cities in other countries. So people really don't need cars. I have been here for over 15 years and I don't own a car and I don't want a car. I have never wanted a car. There have been very, very few occasions where I thought like I would be better off having a car. Yeah, it's good that people, and like also the more cars people own, like the more congested the inner city streets and highways get, and that's already a problem. So this should be news worth celebrating, but of course Joseph Hill was like, "Oh no, the poor car industry." Like, yes, Korea has done very well with its domestic, well, not domestic sales of its cars, but exports of its cars. But it just has to adapt to changing times, and I don't think it's relying that heavily on domestic sales of their cars. Um, yeah, I like reading Chosun Ilbo. All right, this report. I don't know if the poll was taken by them. I think not, but this report is by the Hangyoreh, the left-wing paper. Kind of interesting and then not too surprising when you think about it. More than half of Korea opposes compulsory military service for women. Currently in Korea, all men, with like rare exceptions, if they have some kind of physical disability or they have a certain major where they can skip military service, but all men generally have to serve in the military. I think I don't know how long it is, but it's less than 2 years. I think for everyone. Not great. A lot of unhappy experiences, and some men feel bitter that women don't have to serve. But according to this poll, a lot of people are not convinced that women should be serving. Men were slightly more likely to oppose conscription of women than women were. How about that? Um, yeah. A new study finds that more than half Korea opposes the idea. So, Real Meter surveyed 503 Korean adults. That's not a big sample size. Could be bigger. Whether they support introducing conscription for women, more than half, almost 55% of respondents oppose the idea, while 36.4% were in favor of it. So it's not like 55-45, it's 55-36. Another 8.8 of respondents answered they weren't sure. And that's like a no, because like if yet like you need to say yes to change the step, or at least to be in favor of the existing status quo. So it's like a little more than a third want to change things. Broken down by gender, men were slightly more likely to oppose the conscription of women than women were, at 56.3% compared to 53.4%. So that is, well, it's not a big difference, but it is interesting that the few people who argue that women ought to be serving tend to be like super right-wing young Korean guys. And I'm not saying that more of those types oppose women serving, but it is like a pervasive male attitude that they don't want women serving in the military or having to be conscripted. So it's like, I mean, there is some sexism to that, to some extent. Well, as we'll see, it's hard to really pin down what the attitudes stem from. Opposition was higher among all age groups, with slightly higher opposition among people in their 50s and their 40s. So yeah, that is more due to sexism. Like the older people are, the less like the less they feel favorable to like the equality of the sexes. I mean, the older generation, the older you get in Korea, the more like the men are expected to work and the women are expected to be like stay-at-home moms. Um, so that is more expected for like sexism. And well, and And it's also probably older women who oppose women serving in the military too. It's just like the general attitudes of those generations. The split between support and opposition was fairly similar among those in their 70s. 41% in favor, 48% opposed. That's kind of funny. I don't know what those people are thinking. And those aged 18 to 29, 42% in favor, 48% opposed. When it came to political leanings, I guess this is more telling. Opposition was higher among progressives, or the left, 70%, and moderates, 56.7%, while the split was closer among conservatives. But this is still, so this is the most telling part. So it is likely that the majority of young right-wing Korean men do want women to have mandatory military service. Only 41%. And then, like, I would say this 41% are just like the super sexist people who don't think like men and women in Korea are or should be equal, but they think they're so unequal that women should not serve in the military. But then anyone left wing is just like, no, we don't need to change things. It won't solve it won't address issues. I mean, it would change things to the extent that I guess the duration of military service for everyone would probably be reduced. That would benefit, I guess, the men. But I don't know. It doesn't. Other than that, it doesn't it wouldn't add anything. And Korea is really not at risk of an invasion. If you don't know why, just do the slightest bit of research, and there's nothing any country would gain from invading Korea. So I think military service should be reduced even more, but yeah, I don't see enlisting women being like a solution to a real problem. By region, only North Gyeongsang and Daegu area reported higher support than opposition. When an election comes around, we'll see. I forget how things break down, but I think we can reasonably assume that these are right-leaning districts. There are more than just this, but I guess those might be the most right-leaning. I forget how it goes. Yeah, it's interesting that I guess conservatives, in terms of like these types of polls, conservatives are gaining ground within their own group, but not compared to the entire country. We're worth following up on maybe in half a year. All right. An article by the Korea Herald: Net migration to Korea spikes in 2022. I see this word spikes being used in a lot of Korean articles when numbers go up. I don't think it's really a spike, especially compared to the fact that like during the past 3 years, a lot of people went back to their home countries because of the instability of the whole world situation, and people, now that it's over, people are coming back to Korea. So like it's not a spike so much as like a recovery and a return to usual trends. South Korea saw a net in-migration of 168,000 people in 2022 on the back of a 87% spike in the total number of foreign arrivals, government data showed Friday. Yeah, I mean, I guess the 87% includes tourists, like last year. my brother visited Korea to visit. At the time, like things were safer, but a lot of stuff was still like not closed, but like we went to the DDP in Seoul and there was nothing to see there really. Now things are picking back up. South Korea saw I read that, migration to Korea, or the number of people of foreign nationality moving here, came in at 192,000, while those moving out of the country stood at 19,000, resulting in a net inflow of 168,000. So, like, I feel like most of the people who had a pressing need to leave left in the past 3 years, understandably. Well, I guess this data is at the end of 2022, but still. While the impact is fading, the numbers of people both leaving and arriving in the country have increased drastically. Yep. Nearly half the people of foreign nationality arriving here were Chinese nationals. Things have gotten a bit normal between Korea and China again, followed by some 52,000 Vietnamese nationals and some 35,000 Thai nationals. So this is out of the 168,000 number. So that's is it? No. That's out of the 192. So we got, let's say, almost 150. So that's really, that's like almost more than 90% all coming from China, Vietnam, and Thailand. Is that correct? It's likely, I guess, because it's easier to travel between those countries. Some 33.4% of foreign nationals came to Korea for employment. So only a third of people visiting came to work. Pursuing education and training was cited as the second most common reason with 21.5%, followed by short-term stays of less than 90 days, like tourists or visiting family, at 21.4%, and permanent residence or marriage at 12.7%. That is interesting because I don't know how many people like. I guess I do. Well, I know someone who came over with his wife to work, but she already had Korean nationality. I wonder what if they count those as workers or marriage. I mean, because he has a marriage visa. Migration tracks the number of both foreign nationals who reside here for 90 days or more and Korean nationals who reside overseas for 90 days or more. It did not mention Korean nationals, but it didn't say anything about Korean nationals or Koreans with dual citizenship or Koreans with a different nationality. But whatever, more travel, more people coming in. I thought there was a graph on this. Oh, well, I guess not. Whatever, things are getting back to normal, which can't complain. I've seen, especially in Anyang, I mean, I knew that there were foreigners around and I saw them for the past 2 years, but I've definitely seen more in the past month or two. Not I mean, there are jobs here, sure. Just notice more people. All right, this last article about Hankyoreh is so okay, Yoon administration mulls adding nuclear power plants a sore subject for many. Okay, I don't know the details of nuclear whatever. I know that there have been a few very notable nuclear power plant meltdowns or disasters. We got Chernobyl, we got the was it 3 Mile Island, 5 Mile Island, whatever in the U.S. And then we got Fukushima, and that stuff is not good. But aside from Fukushima, which is more recent, like nuclear power, not just nuclear power technology, but nuclear power plant technology has developed a lot in the past 30, 40 years. And well, I guess I have this Wikipedia page up that shows that Korea already has, well, this is the entire list of power plants in Korea, but Korea already has a ton of nuclear power plants and reactors. Um, as we'll see in the article, nuclear power already makes up like a third of Korea's power plants. So it's not like Korea is really opposed to it. And in fact, most countries aren't. If you look at the Wikipedia page of just total nuclear power plants worldwide, every country seems to have them. So like, as far as I'm aware, it's not only considered relatively safe as long as it's not like in an area that's prone to natural disasters like earthquakes. But it's also much cleaner than, look at all these coal plants that are still operational in Korea. Um, Back to the article. After scrapping the Moon Jae-in administration's nuclear phase-out policy, which is probably a reaction to the Fukushima incident, the Yoon Suk-yeol administration is now floating the possibility of building new nuclear power plants. Monday, the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy announced its plan to review new nuclear power plant construction projects, reasoning that the supply capacity needs to be expanded for stable electricity supply, as it is estimated that demand for electricity will increase dramatically with the rapid electrification of life and industries in general recently, and with the increase in investments in cutting-edge industries. Like, so even though Korea's population is, I don't know if the population's already been shrinking or is about to rapidly shrink, but that doesn't mean that its electricity consumption is shrinking. Based on all the stuff that uses electricity, like I guess I don't want to say all the buses, but I guess the plan is for all buses in the country to eventually go on the electric grid. And just so much stuff is running on electricity and running more efficiently, and there is still more demand for electricity. I have only experienced, as far as I'm aware, one power outage in Korea in like all the years I've been here. And it wasn't Anyang, it was like closer to 2 years ago, I guess. I don't think it was last year. And I think it lasted for maybe like 1 hour or 2 hours. And it was weird. I remember it didn't affect like I didn't need air conditioning. I guess it was in the fall or something. And it was because of like some weird power grid issue. Not a lack of power, just some disruption. So yeah, Korea needs more power, and they are considering adding nuclear power plants. Yoon's presidential campaign did not, in fact, include plans to build new nuclear power plants. At most, it promised to resume the construction of reactors 3 and 4 at Shinhanul nuclear power plant, which had been halted during the Moon Jae-in administration, and to maintain around 30% nuclear power generation as a base power source by keeping the lights on at nuclear power plants currently in operation. So Moon Jae-in had some policy to move away from nuclear power, and I think he commissioned more coal plants or something. And Yoon wants to maintain the existing nuclear power plants, add on to one existing plant, and perhaps build more. The mood shifted after the 1 year mark of Yoon's inauguration. On May 10th, Yoon appointed this dude as second vice minister of industry, kicking off its campaign to restore the nuclear power ecosystem. So this kind of ties into the whole Fukushima debate, because the left is worried about the risks of nuclear energy well, nuclear plants melting down and stuff, and the poisonous water or the radioactive water from Fukushima and stuff like that. They're doing a bit of grandstanding because the right does not act at all concerned about any risks. I do think like you need to express because there will inevitably be a segment of the population that is concerned about health risks. Like you can't avoid that. So like on one hand, you have to be sympathetic to those concerns and reach out and find ways to, like, if their concerns aren't merited, to try to assuage them. And then at the same time, like, figure out practical ways about, like, make practical arguments for how building, like, promoting nuclear energy will be beneficial. I mean, compared to coal, and like the coal stuff also adds to Korea's air quality, which sometimes gets really bad. Where's the part? It talks more about the general distribution of electricity. So projected that nuclear power would make up 34.6% power generation by 2036, and new and renewable energy would make up 30.6. This is good. There have been lots of solar panels built just all around cities. I imagine that a lot of businesses are paying to install solar panels on their own roofs, or building owners. But I have seen solar panels just like on the street lamps, on highways. I'm sure that there are like government installed solar panel, I don't know what you would call them, farms, or like particular areas devoted to them, which fuel like the whole electrical infrastructure. But I don't know where they are or what they would look like. But 30.6% by 2036 sounds pretty good. More would be better. The big issue is phasing out the coal stuff, I think. The total number of nuclear power reactors currently in operation is 24. The figure is predicted to increase to 28 by 2030. I mean, so if people are worried, are they worried about the existing number of nuclear power reactors? Because that's a lot, and I think that an increase in 4 is less than 20%. Like, it's not a huge increase. I don't know. Like, if they have arguments against nuclear power, I feel like opposing the expansion of what exists should come secondary to making an argument for why all the power plants that currently exist shouldn't. I mean, I suppose those arguments would have been made during the Moon Jae-in administration when he wanted to phase that stuff out. But I mean, again, I don't know the specifics of nuclear power. I'm just the people I know who listen to experts are under the impression that nuclear power is mostly safe, and that there is just a lot of stigma around it because of the big disasters, the few big disasters that have occurred. Instead of expanding renewable energy, the government is saying it will expand nuclear energy. Well, it seemed like they're also expanding renewable energy, but I agree that they should focus on renewable energy sources. At a time when concerns about the safety of nuclear power still linger, the Yoon administration's move may only cause societal conflict. Like, claim others. Well, you're the ones who are, I'm not saying wrongly, but you are the ones expressing that conflict by opposing it. So, like, don't say it may cause societal conflict. Just say, like, I oppose this. Like, stand up for your own opinion. Don't say it may cause. This is like a bit weaselly. You gotta, be direct about your opposition. Where are the new nuclear power plants supposed to be built? They can't keep on with an energy generation approach that involves forcing risks on people. Now, like, I don't know if that's so. Like, there's lots of land in South Korea that is like uninhabited, but a lot of it is like mountainous. So you could not easily build a power plant there. Like the existing power plants, I guess they are. Well, let's see. Oh, these are coal plants. Well, the coal plants, we got one near, I know like the Boryung Mud Festival, but I don't know how close. Oh, that's just a general coal plant. There's a coal plant. A lot of them. Is that? Can we zoom in? Oh, we can. Oh, we can see exactly where it is. So, that is interesting. So we got like Seoul. Here's Anyang. So we got Seoul up here. Anyang, Suwon. So this whole coast not too populated, I assume, and over here probably not that populated. So like we're talking about a coal plant here, but this seems to be like kind of out of the way of everything. And ideally, since it's on the water, the fumes wouldn't spread to too many people. I don't know. Wait, let's look at the nuclear plants. So we got the Hanul nuclear power plant, which is the one that they're going to add some reactors, the Hanbit nuclear plant, and the Wolsong nuclear plant. Oh, and Koi. Oh, so there's only 4 actual plants, just multiple reactors. So that doesn't seem like a whole lot. It's 4 in the whole country. So where are they? We got one all the way on the east coast. Where is Gangnam is all the way up here. I don't think there's anything over here except a beach and a power plant. I wish I could I can't turn this into like the satellite map. So I assume this whole thing is a nuclear plant, but like look, are these all mountains? No, it doesn't specify what it is. But I mean, I haven't heard of any of these locations. I think they deliberately built this like away from civilization. Yeah, it's just the power plant. I mean, I see a lot of power plants are built near water. I don't know if that's probably deliberate. It's a nice photo. What we got here, the Hanbit nuclear power plant. This it's on water, but it's also kind of, is that on an island? So those are each of the reactors. Kind of an imposing photo. Wow. So where exactly is this? So west of Gwangju. Again, I don't get the sense that there are people that, well, there's a Gangnam. Yeah, this is not people. I don't think people live here. Could be wrong, but I've never heard of these places. Where's Wolsong? Wolsong. So this looks like there are maybe people around. Where are these photos on like beautiful days? They're really trying to make these like as unimposing as possible. You do this on like a cloudy day, you're gonna scare people. Okay, not actually close to Busan. Daegu. Pretty far east. Again on the water. Yeah, that's like one road. I don't think people are living around here. And so that looks like Busan. Cloudy. Uh-oh, it's a bit ominous. So is this actually technically in Busan? Maybe not. I think people do live around here. But this is sort of kind of like split off. Well, okay, it's not an island, but it's almost like its own little peninsula. Yeah, I guess if there was a nuclear meltdown, that all the waters here would be poisoned, assuming that like the radioactivity gets in the water. And in fact, uh, something I think existing plants might actually already contaminate water a little bit. I don't know. Um, but if that one's so close to Busan and people aren't actually that worried about it, let's see about this one. Gori nuclear plant. World's largest fully operational nuclear generating station by total reactor count. So it holds a record. Maybe that's a point of pride for Busan. It is a suburban village in Busan, so built in. Well, the expansion was 2006. Began operation in 1978. Okay, I mean I don't know how these things work, but oh, this is where the expansion was halted, I guess. It was idled after the Fukushima incident. Has not been restarted as of 2023. Still, like, I don't know. I would prefer. I guess I should listen to like a YouTube lecture about nuclear power, or a few. Because if you should at least listen to the opponents to like evaluate their arguments to see like if they have the statistics to like the data that proves that they cause harm to back up their claims. But just as far as what I've heard, that there isn't a lot of risk, and even now, like Fukushima, I guess it's not working, but it's not like doing much to Japan's water, whatever. Um, but I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thing to look at and address. So that's can I that's all for this week as far as I can figure. There wasn't a lot of political news. I assume people are starting their vacations, or they just don't want to go into the assembly because of all the rain. The assembly building is on Yoido, and as an island, I imagine quite a bit of that gets flooded. I've never heard of Yoido flooding, but it is an island. So but yeah, that's this week in news in South Korea. Thank you for watching.